Early in my life, my parents took me aside and they told me that old saying about how you're just a young boy and young boys really mustn't play with matches. When I asked why, they said, well, because you might hurt yourself or maybe even somebody else. Matches can be dangerous. Excellent advice. I recommend it to anybody. Now I'm just some old guy, and I understand there's a saying now about how you're just an old guy, and old guys really mustn't play with video cameras. When I ask why, they say, ooh, that could be dangerous. All right, maybe not actually dangerous, but you don't get it. You don't understand. What are you hoping to accomplish? Oh, please. You got to trust me. Just trust me. You don't really get it. You don't understand. Nothing good's going to come from that. Just trust me. Really, you don't get it. Old guys really mustn't play with video cameras. Well, I guess as the years have gone by, I've grown just a little bit more rebellious. So I've decided I'm going to go ahead and live life on the edge and ride the thrill of being some old guy who's going to go ahead and play with a video camera. Before we get started, you may want to take a moment here and just do some exercises to kind of warm up and stretch out your cringe muscles just a little bit. Just warm them up, stretch them out. You don't want to pull a cringe muscle. That could be painful. I was talking to a friend not long ago, and I was telling her what it's like looking for a job as I'm getting older. And she's like, oh man, ignore what people are telling you. You got to make a video about it. Just tell people what it's like. In the whole wide world, maybe 20 people are actually going to see the video. But it'll be good for you. It'll be like therapy to talk about it. And I'll tell you, I've gotten some opinions about what it's like looking for a job as I'm getting older. So I'm going to go ahead and share them. I got my very first job clear back the summer that I turned 13, working for a local family-owned Mexican food restaurant. Really liked the people that I worked for. They treated me really well, seemed to like me too. Very excited that summer I turned 13. My first job, earning money. Now here I am with a university degree in accounting and having worked as an accountant for many, many years. And I'm looking for a job again. In all those years from that first job at age 13 until now, I have had a lot of different kinds of jobs working for a lot of different people. And it's given me the opportunity to kind of like watch and observe the sort of like the evolution of the attitudes and the perspectives that exist in the job workplace. From my observation, it's my opinion that we're just a little bit less formal in the job workplace today than we were when I first started working all those years ago. Now, I'm not saying we don't work just as hard. We work just as hard, but we're just a little bit less formal about it. I know that a lot of people, when they go to work today, they'll get dressed in a business dress or a professional pantsuit or a suit and tie and jacket, and that's what they're going to wear all day at work. But it seemed like it was a lot more prevalent or a lot more common back when I first started working all those years ago. In fact, I think back then a lot more employers actually required their employees to be in a professional dress or a suit and tie. In fact, I can remember the summer I turned 16. I got a new job, and my new employer did require me to wear a suit and tie all day at work, which at the age of 16, I just did not want to do that. And, well, this particular job, it was especially challenging in as much as I was working at a local community swimming pool as a lifeguard. Oh, man, forget I said that. All right, forget I said that. Just forget it. Of course I made that up. That did not really happen, all right? Of course that did not happen. I just made that up. That was just a stupid, dopey joke, all right? That was just a stupid dope. That was a dad joke, all right? That was just a really dopey dad joke. Look, dad jokes have been around forever, and they're going to be around forever. It's like they're a part of the universe or something, you know? We don't know when they started. They're never going to end. They go back a long, long ago. Well, they go back long ago. You know that old, fun, made-up outer space science fiction movie, Star Wars? Yes, I know it's a made-up movie. but they kind of make the movie to reflect human behavior. And even if you've never seen that movie before, still you're probably familiar with that one really famous scene in the movie where Luke Skywalker discovers that his father is Darth Vader. And Luke has all this trauma and anguish and heartache and everything over it. And most people who saw the movie figured, well, he's just having trouble dealing with the fact he doesn't want to have a father who's this horrible villain, Darth Vader. That's not why Luke was going through so much anguish and everything. Luke was just terrified of all the stupid dad jokes he was going to have to start putting up with coming from Darth Vader. Would you want Darth Vader telling you dad jokes? That's really, and most people really didn't pick that up. Most people didn't pick it up. I haven't seen this movie in a long, years, decades probably decades. But I can kind of remember it, and I'm going to do the scene here. And I think if you pay attention to the dialogue, and really throughout the whole scene, if you really pay attention, I think you'll be able to see what I'm talking about, Luke being terrified of dad jokes from Darth Vader. Now, I'm not going to be able to do it very well. In fact, I'm going to do it really badly. You know, I won't be able to get the voices just right. I'm going to be, I'm horrible at this, you know, and it's just going to be really bad. But I'm going to do it anyway. All right, so pay attention. I think you'll be able to pick it up. Here's my best effort from my best recollection and everything that I can recall about it. All right, you ready? Luke, I am your father. No, that's impossible. It's not true. You just want to try and torture me with dad jokes. Search your feelings. You know it to be true. No, that's impossible. It's not true. And don't start trying to torture me with stupid dad jokes. Luke, come with me and learn the power of the dark side. As father and son, we shall rule the galaxy together. Luke, come with me and learn the power of the dark side. Son, come to me and pull my finger. Luke? No, dad jokes, no. All right, it has been a long time since I've seen the movie. I'm sure I didn't get it exactly right. But with me pointing it out to you, were you able to see what I was talking about? He was terrified of dad jokes coming from Darth Vader. It's Darth Vader. I mean, he has the whole Master Jedi dark side of the Force thing, you know, and he has the Death Star. Darth Vader has the Death Star, and he has, well, I mean, you know, apparently he has, you know, flatulence. I ask you again, would you want Darth Vader telling you dad jokes? No wonder Luke went through so much anguish and everything. These were, indeed, dark times for the rebellion. All right, so dad jokes, they've been around forever. They're going to be around forever. They even go back long ago, galaxy, ... You know what I'm talking about. They're never going away. It's like they're part of the cosmos or something like that. I think I got a little bit sidetracked there just for a minute. That happens to me sometimes. I get just a little bit off track. What was my point? I got it. I remember. Okay, you know, so from my observation, it's my opinion that we're just a little bit less formal in the job workplace today than we were when I first started working all those years ago. And I think that one of the ways that it is apparent is in the way that we dress. Okay, another change that's taken place, although it's not so much a change in the workplace, but rather it's a change in me. As I get older, I discover, and here I'm really going to shock a lot of you. I mean, I'm really going to catch off guard, but as I get older, I discover that I'm just not as clued in to pop culture as I have been in past years. No, that can't be right. Yes, it's true. I don't go see movies or watch TV or follow social media or current music like I did in the past. And what that can kind of create is sometimes as I'm out job hunting or even in recent jobs with recent coworkers, some conversation will be going on. And I won't really be able to understand the underlying thought of the conversation. Let's say they're talking about some character in a TV show or a movie and the personality of that character. I won't know the character, quite honestly. I probably never even heard of the TV show or the movie. So I got to be filled in a little bit about things so that they can pull me into the conversation. Now, don't get me wrong. They always seem happy to do it, and I still enjoy talking with my coworkers, recent coworkers, or these people as I'm out job hunting. We still have a lot of fun, but I got to be kind of filled in on things. Something as simple as slang words or slang phrases. I had a coworker not long ago. He'd gone to a concert. Next day at work, he's telling me about the concert, and he described the concert as being really sick. But that's a good thing. Well, all right, I kind of get it, And now there's something about spilling the tea, sharing the tea, bringing the tea, spilling the tea. I constantly have to be educated and updated about things. I don't know what they're talking about. Fads. Not too long ago, I heard something about some fad called planking. I'm going to have to go online and look it up just to see if it even existed, and if it did, what it was. Twerking. All right, now twerking's actually been around for a few years. I can remember a few years ago seeing a couple of videos, and it was like, well, this is twerking, I don't really understand it. I don't think it would be for me, I'm just as glad I missed out on that particular fad. But the thing about fads is they really demonstrate just how competitive we can be as human beings. We're all that way. Me too. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I mean, we all get that way. Me too. But how we got to outdo each other, take it one step further, and then another step beyond that, another step beyond that. The first couple of videos I saw of people twerking, they were twerking. But more recently, I've seen a couple more videos, and now people are twerking while they're standing on their heads, or scuba diving, or standing on a mountain peak somewhere. Fads really show. Think of a hot dog eating contest, although those maybe are not so much a fad. I mean, those have been going on since before I was even born. But still, to eat 20 or 30 or 40 hot dogs all at once in one sitting like that, really demonstrates to what lengths we will go to. For me, that's not for me. That would be gross for me. But there are a lot of people who can do it. They have a lot of fun with it. I got no problem with that. In fact, I've even watched a couple of contests where they were doing the hot dog eating contest, and kind of fun to watch it. But not for me. I'm not going to be a participant. Well, all right. My point was, fads and fads show how we get competitive, and we got to outdo each other, and you just kind of start to make that realization. But ultimately, my point was not really clued into pop culture like I have been in past years. Some celebrity or sports star's life has been in the news recently, and I'm not following the story. So I got to be kind of caught up, filled in about facts and details, and then they can draw me into the conversation. Still have a lot of fun, still enjoy it, but I know that there's a lot of social knowledge out there, common to most people, but I'm just not aware of it. Not clued into pop culture like I have been in past years. Anyway, all right, one of the biggest changes that's taken place in looking for a job is just that. It's how you go about looking for the job. I'm old enough, I remember the days when you started looking for a job, you just go buy a newspaper, then you'd get a red pen, and you just start circling all the want ads. And then, in my early teens, I'd get on my bicycle and I'd ride my bike over to apply for or interview for a job. As I got older, I'd get in my car and I'd drive to the different locations. Since the mid-1990s, we've got the internet. Now, I've been using the internet ever since it first became available. I love the internet. It makes everything so much easier. You can get so much more done. You've got all the job search websites, and you guys know all about that. You can schedule interviews online, or you can even just interview online through the meeting apps. I've had several interviews like that. Definitely have their value and their convenience and everything. And like I said, I've had several interviews through the meeting apps. Of course, you can still, in person, be in person, person to person to person, in person with the human resources person in the offices, and go in there and be in person, person to person. You can still do that. Personally, I prefer the in-person interviews. They just seem more personal. Person. Anyway, you can still do that. Go into the office and speak with the human resources director, and that's my preference. But I gotta admit, even though it is, those online interviews through the meeting apps definitely have their value. And like I say, I have had a few of those. All right, one of the things that has not changed when you go out looking for a job is you do still want to dress up appropriate to the job that you're looking for. Now, being an accountant, and being old, I still dress in a business suit and tie and dress shirt and jacket and everything, and that's what I wear when I go into the offices and interview in person. I think it just gives me a more professional, reliable look. I know some people think, well, you're a little bit overdressed in the suit and everything. I don't think so, but that's all right. Some people look at me a little bit funny, but I am old. Shock, right? I am old, so I still do that. I think it just gives me, it conveys an image I think I would like to convey of being responsible and reliable and all those kind of things, professional. And that's what I wear for the in-person interviews in the offices. For the online interviews through the meeting apps, I still dress up, but I got a dress shirt and a tie, but I don't wear the suit jacket. That just seems like more than I really need. I mean, I am dressed up, dress shirt, tie, and all right, well, let's face it, we all have days where we're feeling a little bit adventurous and playful and having a little bit of fun. I mean, I am dressed up, dress shirt, tie, cameras pointed up here, but sometimes for the lower half of my body, I'll just grab some old, ancient pair of, Scooby Doo sweatpants. And that's what I'll wear in the lower half of my body. But hey, I figure that's fair. I am interviewing online. Let's say I'm talking with a woman who's head of human resources, and she may be working remotely from home, and she probably has a very nice looking shirt or a professional looking blouse up top, cameras pointed up here for her. But hey, for all I know, on the lower half of her body, she's wearing her My Little Pony jammies. And don't forget about those Cookie Monster slippers on her feet. I know they're there. You're not fooling anybody. All right, well, anyway, so I think any human resource director would probably validate and agree with me. When you do go out looking for a job, you do want to dress up appropriate to the job that you're looking for. Oh, and I made a real quick video of myself in my suit and tie so you can see what I'm talking about. I think it gives me a professional look. I think it makes me look good. I mean, I'm not a model or anything, so don't go expecting that. But I think it gives me a real reliable look, and I'm going to insert it here. And then you can just take this, just this moment and just kind of watch it. And then you can just kind of, judge for yourselves. All right, just a real quick video clip of me in my suit and tie so you can see what I'm talking about. I think I look presentable, I look professional, got a nice jacket, got a real nice red tie, decent looking belt. I don't know, it's impressive. Oh man, I got a great big wrinkle. I don't even know if you can see that. Oh man, that's awful. I'm so embarrassed by that. I'll be sure and get rid of that wrinkle before I go to my next interview. But you want to go in confidence. You want to go interview in confidence. You can even, some guys look really good like this, but I don't. I don't think I look good with it buttoned like that. But a lot of guys do, but I don't, so I just leave it unbuttoned. And like I say, I'm not one of the 10 best dressed people. I'm not a model, but I just wanted to show you, oh man, there's a lot of static electricity. Man, I got wrinkles and I got static electricity. You got to shake that out. I hate that feeling of the fabric sticking to my skin like that. You got to go in with confidence, all right? You do. You got to go in with confidence. You want to be able to talk people face to face. And then as you're walking away, you don't want to feel like anybody's laughing at you or anything like that. So you got to go in with confidence now. Even though, obviously, I am not a model, all right? And we've established that. But you know how models, they got that they got the runway and they walk up the runway and then they do that really impressive turn and then they walk back. Well, indulge me for a second because I'm going to show off just for a second. I've been practicing it. So they got the really good walk and then they do that impressive turn and then they walk back. Not bad, huh? I can go to my interview with confidence. Anyway, real quick video. I just wanted to show it to you. And now we'll go back to the regular part of this video. Oh, no. Static electricity. You may want to be sure and double check in the mirror, front and back, just to make sure before you leave your house or your home or your apartment or whatever. Just make sure you don't have any unwanted attachments. Remember, you're a wonderful, competent human being. You're not an email. You don't need any unwanted attachments. All right, so you do want to dress up appropriately to the job that you're looking for. I have given you a lot of information. Thank you very much for listening to this point. Now, to kind of give you an example of what I'm talking about, how from my perspective, we're just a little bit less formal in the job workplace today. I'll tell you real quickly about a job interview I did have not long ago. It was for a senior level accounting position with a large corporation. I scheduled it online, but I'd be going into the offices and speaking with the head of human resources, Ms. Jackson. Oh, real quickly about Ms. Jackson. I'll tell you more about her shortly, but anything I say about Ms. Jackson, do not misinterpret or misunderstand as being like negative or critical or anything like that. Ms. Jackson was the nicest person. She was very professional. She made me feel very welcome in the interview, like she was really interested in speaking with me. And Ms. Jackson was just really a very lovely person. So don't misunderstand anything I say about her as being negative or critical or anything like that. So I scheduled the interview online, go into the offices. I've got my suit and tie on and everything. And as I walk into the room where Ms. Jackson is sitting, this is where it kind of reinforces in my mind, well, yeah, we are just a little bit less formal in the job workplace because I'm there in my suit and tie and everything. I walk into the room and Ms. Jackson is sitting there and she's in a T-shirt. And like I say, I don't have a problem with that at all. In fact, quite honestly, I'm glad for it. I like being able to go to work as an accountant and dress in business casual clothes. But the thing about Ms. Jackson's T-shirt is it's not just any T-shirt. Ms. Jackson's T-shirt has printing across the front of it. And the printing on Ms. Jackson's T-shirt says, "My bong is in my other bra." Okay. You know, like I say, I don't have a problem with that at all. But I see that printing on the T-shirt, and in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, you know, we are just a little bit less formal today. Maybe I should relax a little bit, lighten up just a little bit, perhaps even try to make a humorous comment of some kind. Oh, great. Now I got that thought. Lighten up, say something funny. That thought's just in the back of my head. And you know, I can't believe it's just me. When I go into a job interview, I feel like I'm in the spotlight. I mean, you are, kind of. And you start thinking really fast. You start thinking really, really fast. And you got all these thoughts about all the things you want to say. And that thought's floating around in the back of my head. And, you know, frequently when you go into a job interview, you know, you don't just, you know, boom, right into the job interview. You have some social interaction with the person you're talking with. You have some small talk with the human resources director. And Ms. Jackson and I start to have some small talk. And in the course of the small talk, I start to notice certain well, first of all, I should tell you, I discover in the small talk that Ms. Jackson had been head of the human resources department at this large company for a very short period of time. Immediately before coming to work there, she had had a 6-year career as a kindergarten teacher. And as we're talking in the small talk, I start noticing certain characteristics in the manner of the way she presents herself. By that, I mean, I notice that she'll start talking, and then very quickly she can become very, very animated and excited and enthusiastic about things, almost like she's cheerleading me into becoming excited about this job and the possibilities and the potential. And then you could see in her face, she would realize that she was doing that. And she would just kind of, back off a little bit and relax just a little bit. But then she would start getting involved in talking about something else. And she would become almost to the point of being effervescent and excited and enthused about things. And then you could see in her face again. She would realize she was doing that. And she would just relax a little bit. Now, I'm thinking really fast. But I'm seeing this. I'm going, well, I'm making the connection. Oh, well, yeah, these have to be like leftover habits from her previous 6-year career as a kindergarten teacher. You know what I mean? You know how when one adult talks to another adult, you kind of have one way of presenting yourself. But when an adult talks to a 5-year-old child, you can kind of have a different manner about yourself. And let's face it, any parent with a kid in kindergarten would want their kid's kindergarten teacher to be enthusiastic and exuberant and encouraging, kind of like they're cheerleading the child into becoming excited about learning and interacting with the other kids and developing those social skills. Any parent would want that for their child's kindergarten teacher. But I see her doing this and getting so excited, and then it was like you could almost see the thoughts going through her mind, just like, wait a minute. Wait a minute, I don't work with 5-year-olds anymore. I mean, that was appropriate to that career. It was even a good skill to have, but I'm working with adults now. I'm making these connections and I'm getting it, and you can see it in her face. I don't have to act like that anymore. I've got some new skill sets. I've got a new career. I got to develop new skill sets for that new career. I'm getting it. And then the shirt, my bong is in my other bra. I get it. I would suggest possibly not the wisest fashion choice to wear a shirt that says my bong is in my other bra when working with and teaching 5-year-old kids. I'm making these connections and everything, and now she's working with adults. She can be more expressive. She's got this fun, playful, kind of attitude t-shirt that she wants to wear. And now that she's working with adults, she can wear it. She can be that expressive. And so I'm making those connections. And I'm starting to get it. And yet, even with all those connections and my fast thinking, I'm thinking too fast, but still, you can't help it. There's still that thought in the back of my mind that says, well, still lighten up, try to be funny. That thing's, well, actually, it's not just floating around. Now it's starting to tap dance because it's like, well, it's back there and it wants to come out, and it's one of those impulsive, compulsive thoughts. I've got all the other thoughts in the front of my head, but it's back there kind of going, hey, pay attention to me. And so it wants to come out, but I've got all this other stuff in my conscious part of my head going on, and it's sitting back there in my subconscious. Okay. Now, the shirt itself, my bong is in my other bra. That has to be a reference to one of those little bongs, right? You know what I'm talking about? I don't use cannabis myself. I don't know that much about it. And certainly I'm not advocating I'm not advocating for the use of cannabis. But I know what a bong is. I mean, I know what a bong is. And it's got to be a reference to one of those little ones. I've seen them before. It looks like they're made of glass or something. Do you call them mini bongs? I don't even know. But I mean, the shirt's got to be referring to one of those little ones, right? As though she would have it like tucked up in the strap of her bra. The shirt's got to be referring to it. I mean, the shirt cannot be a reference to, to one of those, great big bazooka bongs. Because then she'd have to have it like strapped across her chest. I really like the mental image that puts in my head. Somebody wearing that shirt and they got this huge bong strapped across their chest. Like they think they're a pirate or something like that. Pirate. You've seen pirate movies before. Pirates of the Caribbean. Pirates. They've always got like knives and pistols and swords strapped all over them. And here somebody's got that shirt. They got this huge bong strapped across them like they think they're a pirate. Arr, I'm a pirate and I got me bong strapped with me, don't you know? Wind in the sails, yo ho ho, wark the plank. Planking. No, that's ridiculous. Never mind. I've still got to look that one up. I love the mental image that puts in my head. Did I get off track again? I think it's possible maybe I did. Oh, man. Got a little bit off track there again. Oh, of the maybe 20 people who may start watching this video, 15 are gone. They're like, nope, that's enough. But that means I've still got 5 of you left. Started with 20, 15 are gone. But I still got 5 of you left. How am I going to keep you watching? Oh, let's face it. The only reason you 5 are still around is because you've probably been drinking, haven't you? You've probably been drinking. You're probably sitting there and fading away every once in a while and drifting off. You're just getting bits and pieces of this. You're not following the flow of information I'm providing. You're getting pieces. You're hearing like Darth Vader, hey, and then you're drifting off, and then kindergarten teachers, what? And then you're fading away some more, and then it's like pirates, hey, I caught your interest with that one. You're sitting there trying to figure out how do I turn this off? What button do I push to make stop talking beard stop talking? How do I make what button do I push to make stop talking beard man stop? You're trying to figure it out. You're not staying with me. You're probably just pushing everything and then like, honey, how do I make him stop talking beard man? Huh? Have I been drinking? I am watching an educational video. I am watching an educational video. Talking Beard Man. He is educating me. He is wise. Talking Beard Man. Huh? Did you know that Did you know that Darth Vader teaches kindergarten to pirates? Talking Beard Man. He has a beard that talks. Oh, come on, guys. You got to stay with me, man. Put the drink down. Quit drinking. It's not good for you. You got to stay with me. Oh, I know how to get you to stay with me. I'm going to ask you a question here. This is important, all right? You listening? This is a health checkup, real quick. You ready? Here's my question. How are the cringe muscles doing? I warned you right up front. I said stretch those things out. Warm them up. How are the cringe muscles doing? No major catastrophes? I haven't caused any serious injuries yet? Well, the night is young. Ah, come on, guys, you gotta stay with me. You're making me think of my friend Barnard. I mean, Barnard hardly ever drinks. Once every 2 or 3 years, he'll drink something. The thing about Barnard is that when he does drink, once every 2 or 3 years, Barnard drinks a lot. When Barnard decides to drink, he drinks a lot, all at once. Barnard's a great guy. But that's a video for a different day. If you ever see me post a video about Barnard, you may want to keep your eyes out for it. Oh man, all right, you guys, you don't know, this is important. This is important. You don't know the challenges I face, man. I can do the accounting. Thank goodness I can do the accounting. But people are telling me about things and twerking and they want to knock over cups of tea or something. I don't know. And I don't know what they're talking about. You know, this is serious. This is important. All right, going forward, I'm going to take this more seriously. All right, you know, I'm really going to, you know, focus. Who am I kidding? I'm probably going to get off track again. Well, if you can't stay with me, you can't stay with me. But I want you to stay with me. So quit drinking. Put the drink down. Quit drinking altogether. It's not good for you, all right? Sober up. Watch the rest of this video. Go do something worthwhile. But stay with me. If you need something to do, well, go and click the like button. And then after that, click the subscribe button. Oh, all the pretty colors. All right, I'm going to really take this more seriously. And now I forgot where I was again. Doug. Okay, here we go. I remember Ms. Jackson. Really fun to talk with Ms. Jackson. No kidding. Very charming. Very charming to see her going through this adjustment from a former career to her new career. Very nice person. Small talk with Ms. Jackson. But small talk's over with now. And we get into the actual interview. And we start talking in the actual interview. And rather quickly, Ms. Jackson gets kind of serious. And she poses a serious question to me, and she says, and again, this is Ms. Jackson speaking. She says, now as an accountant, you'll be preparing important business reports and financial statements to go to very important people so that they can review them and then make important decisions regarding the operation of the company. What if, and again, this is Ms. Jackson speaking, she says, what if one day at work somebody comes to you and says, hey, you know, we have like a FedEx or a UPS package going to headquarters, to company headquarters, to members of the board of directors. Do you have anything that you want to include? Do you have anything you want to send to company headquarters to members of the board of directors? And she poses, and don't get me wrong, I know it's a serious question, you know, and she means it, but you know, it just doesn't seem like that big of a deal to me. I mean, if I do have something I want to send to headquarters, to members of the board of directors, like a financial statement or something, well, I've probably already got it prepared. And I can just go grab it, you know, and just give it to the person and say, yeah, you know, just go ahead and send this. So it just doesn't seem like that big of a deal to me. And then that thought that's been back there floating around. Well, it was floating around, then it was tap dancing. Well, now it's shooting off fireworks. It is one of those compulsive, impulsive thoughts, and it's been floating around back there, and now it's mad. And no kidding, it just goes off. And it's as though it becomes its own living, breathing creature all on its own, you know, and it just goes off, and it's like, hey, look, you thought me up, first of all right? You created me. I'm just a thought, you know. But as soon as you created me, you just shoved me to the back. You had all those other stupid things going on in the front of your head, and I've been floating around and tap dancing around there trying to get your attention. And I've been back there with all these boring thoughts about debits and credits and financial statements and resumes and job interviews and all those different things, and even twerking and hot dog eating contests. Although, quite honestly, hot dog eating contests, that's kind of a fun thought to think of, to hang out with and be around, because, you know, it's just a fun thought. You just make sure that before you hang out with it, you know, you wipe its face off and you let it belch first, and then it's actually, look, quit trying to distract me with these other thoughts. I got something to say. I'm going to say it. You saw the thing on the shirt with the bong, and I probably could have come up with a bunch of jokes right then, but did you let me? No. Oh, no, you just shoved me to the back. Well, now I'm going to say something. I don't care what you think. I'm going to come flying right out of your mouth. I'm going to say something. I'm not waiting anymore. I got something to say. I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it right now. And I'm going to be heard, and I'm going to be heard right now. So clearly that thought just goes off. And so it does. And so Ms. Jackson poses this serious question to me. And I respond FedEx to headquarters to members of the board of directors. Do I have anything I want to send? Well, I mean, of course, certainly, of course, certainly, just go ahead and send them my hugs and kisses. Yeah. 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 Okay. So Ms. Jackson doesn't really, respond to, Ms. Jackson doesn't laugh. Although, to tell you the truth, I thought it was kind of funny. It was a little bit funny. But okay, Ms. Jackson doesn't laugh. No problem. No worry. Like I say, she was very professional. And I've been around a while. It's not like this is the first clumsy circumstance I've ever been in my life. We have a couple of awkward seconds. We work through it. No problem. No worries. The interview proceeds forth. And you know how when an employer will place a help wanted ad on one of the job search websites, they'll say things like, hey, we need to fill this particular position. And then underneath that, they got those bullet points that say things like, you have to have this level of education, you got to have these job skills, you got to have this past experience. And we start talking about that. And quite honestly, I'm starting to feel a little bit more comfortable in the job interview. Kind of like I'm filling the requirements, meeting the requirements kind of thing. But then the job interview turns just a little bit weird. And I mean it does. It gets just a little bit weird. I got to fill you in about something real quick so you know where I'm coming from. I'll do this as quickly and as simply as I can. One of the tasks that an accountant can have is to do something called closing out month-end books or closing out month-end. You're taking the financial information for the month, you're organizing it, compiling it, balancing it, making sure everything's correct. And then from that information, you're able to create financial statements and business reports to go to members of the board of directors and other appropriate people. And typically you have a very strict, hard time deadline that you have to have it done by. And you really want it to be right, because if it's not right, you look bad. Really bad as an accountant. So closing out month-end books can really put some pressure on you. It can be very stressful. You got this strict hard time deadline that you got to have it done by, and you really want it to be right. Closing out month end can be very stressful. It can really put some pressure on you. Simply and as quickly as I can put it to you. All right. So Ms. Jackson starts telling me about the woman who has been the accountant for the company. She's leaving, and closing out month end was one of her responsibilities. And if I'm hired, I'll replace her, and I'll have the task of closing out month end. Ms. Jackson starts telling me about her. She's very complimentary, but this is where it gets just a little bit weird, because she's telling me about her, and she says, and again, this is Ms. Jackson speaking, she says every single month the accountant, she would rush to get the month end books closed, and every single month she would get her panties in a wad. And I gotta admit, I've been around a while, but I don't really know an appropriate response to that statement in a job interview. Every month rushes to month-end close, every month panties in a wad. I mean, the point of my video is we're less formal in the job workplace today, and I get that, but you kind of got to see it from my point of view. I mean, I have dressed up in my suit and tie, come into the offices, taking this seriously, interviewing for a senior level accounting position with a large company, and head of human resources says to me every month, predecessor accountant, rush to close month-end books every month, should get her panties in a wad. Truthfully, I don't know a response. I don't even know what to think. Every single month, panties in a wad, I don't even know what to think. I mean, all I can think is, well, that would be uncomfortable. I'm still interested in this job, but I don't want to have that happen to me. And now, as I've had time to think about it a little bit, I mean, understanding that I'm not really clued into pop culture really now. I mean, is there some new fad or something? I mean, like I say, fads can really get out of hand sometimes. But where are you going to go with something like that? For crying out loud. There are really some challenges to looking for a job as I'm getting older. And I was going to do this in just one video, but I may have to make a part 2 to this. I mean, if there's some new fad, there are challenges to looking for a job as you get older. And I face those as I go out job hunting.